Welcome to the Advanced Swimming Performance Podcast, sponsored by Commit Swimming, the smartest workout log. Just type a set and Commit instantly calculates the data for you. To learn more, visit commitswimming.com. We highly recommend it. My name is Jenni Brozena. I'm here with Dr. John Mullen, and we are discussing sleep, recovery, and swimming, and all sorts of other things. John, you've got a chili can in front of you, and I need to know why.
Yeah, so I had a patient of mine who knows I'm from the Southwest Ohio, Dayton area, brought me a can of Skyline chili. So anyone that's been to Southwest Ohio or has lived there knows that Skyline is the best chili. And there are a few other competitors out there, but they just knew that, without even asking me, that this would really ring true to my heart. And I believe the unique thing about Cincinnati chili is that, one, they put it on spaghetti, and they'll call that three ways and things like that. And two, I believe there's supposed to be cinnamon in it. Now I'm looking on the ingredients and all this. I mean, looking at the ingredients is kind of.
Wait, you put chili on your pasta?
At certain, I mean, not like always, but that is the thing. Our original Skyline chili dip. 12 ounces of cream cheese, a can of Skyline chili, dried onion, and shredded cheese. So
well, again, we're not a nutritionist podcast, so it's okay.
Oh, exactly. But yeah, this is just a nice little gift that I don't know. I don't have a can opener here, so I don't know how I'm getting into this, but I think I deserve it out of the kindness of the heart of the patient who brought it for me. That I need to, go home.
Yeah, you need to shout out for some chili on and maybe on pasta. If you make that, can you put a picture up, because I need to see. Now, will you put that on fries? From where I come from, you put chili on fries.
Yeah, you put it on fries. I mean, these type of restaurants, they put it on spaghetti. They'll put it on like a little hot dog, like a chili cheese coney is what they'll call it.
Okay.
That's my preferred thing, going and eating maybe 10 of those after a hard swim workout. But once again, not a nutrition podcast, that's for sure. So sleep and performance, after a big bowl of chili, sleep might be something that you're looking forward to.
Yes. And I am going to tell you, I am down here in Florida right now, Southwest Florida, and I found myself accidentally in an alligator habitat.
Uh-oh.
I took a wrong turn trying to get to the beach. I clearly went to the wrong side, and before you know it, I am right by a sign that says, "Danger, you are in an alligator habitat," and start having all of the plants and everything rustle around me. So I bolted quickly, and then I was ready for a nap.
Well, I believe it. Get that sympathetic system up, and then have to
Exactly.
fall a little bit. So yeah. So obviously, sleep, stress, arousal levels, and things like that. Performance are very linked together. So I think one thing that would be helpful is maybe discussing the different types of central nervous system or the nervous systems, and then we can start talking about maybe how sleep and anxiety and all that can influence those.
After you.
Oh, after me. Okay. So when we think about some of our nervous systems, at least the ones that we're particularly intrigued with performance, we're starting to look at the sympathetic, also known as the fight or flight system, and then our parasympathetic, which is commonly called the rest and digest system. And when we are starting to be in stressful situations, the heart rate goes up. We start to go through some of these changes, and that can actually change just how well we respond to stresses, increase our anxiety, and can potentially impede performance. Obviously, having this, system heightened a little bit for performance can be helpful, but over long term and being very stressed out, not sleeping well, it can greatly influence and change some of these areas. So why don't we just talk about maybe take a step back from the science of it all and start talking about maybe general sleep guidelines, or how much sleep should athletes be getting for peak performance?
I think that this is a very important topic for us all to talk about, and I think we are having some really excellent research coming out. The biggest thing that I talk about with parents, if we still have the beauty of having an age group swimmer under the one roof, I typically will say that you should still have a structured bedtime. Just because you are 17 does not mean that you should go and have just a complete free-for-all. I think that the support system at home for an athlete, which typically is parents, but I call it the support system, they should really help them maintain some type of a routine to calm the mind, calm the body, and enter into restful sleep. And I think we all know the importance of having a very structured sleep schedule with infants and toddlers. And for some reason, we think that because you are now either a kid or an adolescent, you should just be able to go, at a 10 all day long and then maybe get 6 hours of sleep, 7 hours of sleep, whatever. And somehow we kind of lost our way that way. The biggest recommendation I ever give is to go back to having a really structured bedtime practice. And what I have found is that it does calm the athlete's mind. It does give them a way to de-stress. It empowers them a little bit more to feel like they have control over their day. Because I think particularly now with how the world has changed with technology and overscheduling, I am hearing a lot of our high school athletes saying that they are feeling burnt out, overworked, things like that. And just initiating some type of control over bedtime practice, I found to be really beneficial. What do you think about that?
Oh, I couldn't agree more. But I'll give you what we hear here. But Bobby's in 5 AP classes. He has
I
so
know.
much homework. He has to stay up till 2 a.m. So how do you expect him to get 8 hours of sleep with a stern coach requesting these 5 a.m. workouts? How can you do that?
Right. And I think that's where you really have to be like, listen, it's time. It's not working. Right. Yeah. It's not working. And that's really where I kind of push back. Cause I mean, obviously we all get into that conversation. And I do sometimes that I kind of put a stern foot down as well and say, listen, it's not working. How bad does it have to get before you actually step in and say, this isn't working? Is it time for you to support the athlete in learning some better time management skills? Mm-hmm. Is it that you have to step in and say, you don't have to take 5 AP classes, maybe 3 are enough? Like where is the give and take? Because if we have an athlete that is starting to have negative side effects. And I think that's a big thing. We're talking about an athlete that is maybe starting to have some performance issues, maybe having some mental or psychosocial issues. Something's going to have to give, and it's just how bad do you want to let it go before you take some steps to make some changes? How do you deal with that conversation? Because it's one that we've all been a part of it.
Yeah, I think time management's the big thing. Time management and just prioritizing the main interest of the athlete.
Yeah.
Clearly school is important. Swimming is for most just going to be a hobby or a peripheral thing. Academics will lead and be the career for 99.9 to infinity of these people that we work with.
Right.
So it's important to just keep that in mind, that it is a peripheral activity, just like any of these other extracurriculars. As much as we love swimming, these other things are important as well. However, finding that balance and being able to, make it work is key. So, like you said, planning ahead, having proper time management, trying to teach the kids how important sleep really is, and how maybe some of the activities they're doing are preventing them from being as efficient as possible with some of their schoolwork, whether that is, doing schoolwork on a computer, having their phone beeping at them constantly, that they have a Snapchat of someone's booger that flew out of their nose. All these things are really going to distract them, and they may think, oh, well, it's just, a second here and there. But, the distracted work frame of being able to study, being able to do these things really can impede things. So it's important to think about all the different people that you would need to be talking about with, how to structure this. Like you said, the support system. So the swimmer is one. The next person, I think, is the parent as well. Having them keep in mind, how can we set up the environment like you talked about, the sleep scheduling, doing things for them to help be more efficient, whether that is something with carpooling, getting them home earlier, trying to have food, snacks, and things like that ready. You really, as a parent, are going to be able to do a lot for them. And clearly as an athlete gets older, you can't hold their hand, you can't pack their bag and, kiss them on their, cheek every time you see them. And you don't need to be facilitating dependent swimmers, but trying to just teach efficient ways for them to do it earlier on really is key. And the last aspect of the support system, at least that, is the right there are the coaches. And what can coaches do? I'd love to hear your thoughts on that.
And I'm going to give them to you right
Boom.
after a note from Commit Swimming. If you need a better way to log your swim workouts, you should absolutely check out our friends over at Commit Swimming. It tracks your workout history, analyzes trends in your training, and most importantly, it's extremely easy to use. All you have to do is type your workout like you would a Word document, and everything else is automatically taken care of. Head on over to commitswimming.com for a free trial. I love when a coach calls me and says, I need a recovery plan. I love it. They recognize that they have a burnout issue. They recognize that maybe sleep is a problem for their swimmers, and they need some coaching about how to coach, rest and relaxation. I think I'm such a big thing on time management, because if you take a look at all of the activities that we have going on in the day, how much of it is being really intentional and really focused, and how much of it is just noise? You know what I mean? And there's everyone attached to the phone, everyone attached to, oh my gosh, the schedule, oh my gosh, the carpool, oh my gosh, everything. A lot of our mental energy is going to just the noise. And I think, if we see an athlete, and again, talking specifically to the age group or high school, I think let's touch on college in a second. I think when we see an athlete really struggling to rest, it's most likely that they're having a problem quieting their mind down in order to get to that point where they can go into a deep REM sleep. Do they have their phone right next to them? I know that there's a lot of research coming out saying that this generation sleeps with their phone next to their pillow. Let's find a way to disconnect from that. Are they doing homework up until the very end? Are they falling asleep with all of their homework on their bed? Just these little habits that will actually help them get into that restful sleep will have huge improvements on their overall performance. And I love a coach that shows up, even if sometimes 5 a.m. practice is just a pool space issue. And I know it's it's a double-edged sword, but if that's the case and it's a 5 a.m. practice, then I would say that part of the culture of that team is bedtime. It's if that's the team structure, then that needs to be a team conversation about how are you planning your bedtime, and it has to be a point of focus. Now, I was talking with a strength and conditioning coach from a D1 team in the greater Washington, Metro Maryland area, and they were saying that they were actually starting to put a sleep program together, that they wanted to make sure that because they had college athletes and they know the college schedule, they are seeing it as a problem that they want to address right up front. How do you even bring about rest to the college schedule? I know you swam in college. You got the nice watch from Purdue. Yep. So what did you guys do, and what could you have maybe done better?
Yeah, I think what could we have done better is probably the area to focus on, in all honesty, because I certainly wasn't getting adequate sleep in college. So it's important to, I think, once again, the coach to highlight the importance of it. Maybe to have someone else come in and talk about the importance of it can be helpful things to the college environment. I think structuring practices in different times, or maybe experimenting with different things, is a possibility for a coach. I know a lot of elite D1 programmings or programs. The main meets are obviously conferences and then NCAA's. And these meets have very late prelim times. So somehow maybe you could have a different schedule where an athlete isn't having a super intense morning workout. They can just come and do a swim throughout their day when they have maybe a break with their classes, or maybe trying to have one practice in the 10 to 1 range, and athletes can show up during any time period in that range, get in their workout, and then they're back again maybe around 5 or 6, similar to the prelim finals schedule of some of these major competitions. So I think as a coach, trying to come up with creative solutions to try to give them the chance to sleep in could be helpful. I hear a lot of times from coaches, well, if we give them the time to sleep in, then they're just going to stay up later. So I think that's where the education component really comes in as well as maybe putting a little more good faith into the athlete that, maybe they will stay up later, but overall some of the effects could be improved a little bit more. I also think creative scheduling can be done by coaches, where if you see that, okay, we have, the school week is crazy for the kids. Let's just
Right.
call it that. Maybe we'll have, instead of a Saturday morning practice, we'll have a Saturday late morning or afternoon, and then a Sunday afternoon or Sunday, late morning as well. And then you give them a day off during the week, or
Right.
even a couple mornings off during the week. So it's just trying to figure out how you can structure the training volume, the training stress creatively to hopefully facilitate more sleep.
Yeah, and there's two tools. I was working with a sports psychologist recently, and there's two tools that they particularly use. One is a worksheet where they're consistently checking in with the athlete for them to measure their quality of sleep. What time are you going to bed? Is it consistent? Are you waking up in the middle of the night? And that's how they made it a part of the standard conversation that team was having. And the other one, to get a little bit techie, I know there is a lot of tech starting to come out that's measuring the quality of your sleep, and it's becoming more and more reasonably priced. I think that will eventually offer some really great value. And I think that the more the conversation gears towards, just how much rest we do need as humans in order to process and to recover, I think we're going to be seeing just as much interest in how to recover well as we do perform well. We know how to ramp up to a 10 very, very well in our society. And I think learning how to come back down to rest and realize that once we do, we can go and perform even better is where we're headed.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think the tech is an interesting field where there's still a lot of room for improvement. I've worked with some of these companies, and I've seen coaches use it and get frustrated with it. There's some that, say, oh, if you're in a red zone, you shouldn't be competing because you're, at a good space. Yellow's okay, green is great. And some of the swimmers I've seen are red, 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 red.
Yeah.
And it's one of those coaches don't like to see that. And you could argue, they're overtrained or maybe in the overreaching phase, but nonetheless, coaches don't want to be pushing that upon swimmers' mindset, especially some of the high school age kids and things like that. Another maybe more low tech method is just, like you said, the worksheet, 0 to 10. How restful do you feel when you wake up? Are you at a 10, full of energy, ready to roll?
Cool.
Okay, that's good to go. Yeah, you're probably have a good recovery period. If you're waking up 2s and 3s every day, dragging around, you're likely in a negative mindset. You're likely in a bad mood. And obviously that can transfer to performance as well.
There you go. I think we have represented both sides of rest, sleep, recovery. We got a few good action items, basically time management, figure out a bedtime routine, and eat some chili.
There you go. Ultimate sleep aid. I guarantee a few of these and you'll be, food coma, glucose levels.
Some melatonin pills. You'll be good to go.
There you go. Exactly. All right, Jenny. Well, have a good one.
All right. You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.